Hey everyone, welcome back to the I Believe podcast. I'm Megan, and our guest today is also Megan. You get two Megans today. So please welcome Megan Morelli. She's a very special guest because she's bringing a different perspective. So Megan, tell us a little bit about yourself and how ocular melanoma has affected your life.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be on the podcast today. My name is Megan, and I myself am not or have not been a ocular melanoma patient. It was actually my mom. So she was first diagnosed back in the fall of 2018, I think September or October timeframe. And prior to that, I really wasn't familiar with ocular melanoma. I hadn't really had a personal experience at all with cancer. It doesn't necessarily run in my family, and so I consider myself lucky in that aspect. But that being said, once my mom was diagnosed, it was really scary, and it kind of hit my family like a bowling ball, and we had to do a lot of research to really understand what it meant and what our lives were going to look like and how things were going to change for my mom. So she went in for just her annual eye exam, no symptoms, nothing specific, just a regular checkup. And that's when they noticed just a little dark spot in the back of her eye. And after some additional testing, they did determine that it was very early stage ocular melanoma. And at the time, she went down to the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota. They did a radiation cap or a patch for about a week, and that took care of it. It went away. However, with that additional research into what was really going on, we understood that ocular melanoma, this specific type of cancer, can easily spread to different areas of the body, meaning metastasize, I always have trouble saying that word, to the stomach and or liver. So the next step after that was kind of just crossing our fingers and waiting to see if it would spread or not. And eventually, once it did, she got very involved in a lot of different clinical trials across the country. In total, over 4.5 years, I think she participated in 10 different clinical trials, which is pretty incredible. Off the top of my head, one was in Iowa, one was in Philly, or I think multiple might have been in Philly because that's where her primary doctor was. And then, in my opinion, the most fun one was down in Miami. And so she did a really good job of making either mother-daughter or family weekend trips out of those times so that we could travel with her to get the treatment done, but also make a positive memory out of it.
That's amazing. I think it's so special that she was able to take something that really isn't a fun trip. I mean, going for a treatment, that's really not great, and turn it into something that was fun and left a lasting memory. I think that is really amazing that she was able to do that.
Me too. It was... looking back now, those are some of the best memories from the last few years. And over those 4.5 years, for the most part, she was happy, healthy, thriving. Physically looking at her, you never would have known that she was battling this type of cancer. It really wasn't until the last few months when it really started to spread and take over that there was any type of physical decline. And obviously it's hard to think about those last few months, but we're lucky that the majority of her 4.5 year battle was just our normal, happy, healthy mom that we were able to travel with and make memories with and celebrate birthdays and anniversaries and holidays. Everything really was normal besides those monthly treatments, sometimes more often, but on average monthly. And then again, we would make a fun trip out of it. So it did have a really big impact overall, specifically towards the end. But yeah, looking back, we're lucky that we were able to continue our lives for the most part as normal, for her and as a family.
That's awesome. So for anyone who's in the community who maybe knew her or crossed paths with her, tell us her name and a little bit about her pre-cancer. What did she like to do and who was she?
Yeah. Great question. So her name was Tami Sulistyo. She is originally from Minnesota. She met my dad right after she graduated college. One of her professors from Vassar recommended that she travel to Indonesia to teach English at one of the universities in Yogyakarta, which is where my dad is from. And this is, in my opinion, the greatest love story of all time. I think it's great. I love telling it. She decided to go, and I think the original like contract or setup was, I think, 6 months. So good amount of time, but nothing too crazy. A good adventure. Like she just graduated college. On the other side of the world, my dad did attend the university that she would be teaching at. He's a couple years older, so he'd already graduated, and he and a couple other friends or maybe colleagues at that point decided to start a language school that was walking distance from the university. And so my mom gets to Indonesia. She starts teaching at this university. She loved learning different languages. That's, I think, one of the coolest things about her. She decided, oh, if I'm going to be here for 6 months or potentially longer, why don't I take the time or the opportunity to learn the local language? And so she signs up for language classes at this language school that's right near the university. And guess who her teacher was? My dad.
That is so cool.
Yeah. So they meet, they fall in love. Long story short, I think she decided to extend her contract to no surprise to from 6 months to a year, and then I think voluntarily just stayed a little bit longer after that too. But that's how they met, and that is how I exist. We lived internationally for a little bit growing up in Singapore and in Indonesia for a couple of years, but then the majority of my childhood was spent in Minnesota, which is where my mom is originally from. And besides being a absolute lover of different languages, she loved being outside, she loved being by the water, she loved traveling, loved meeting different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, always had a very big, loving, crazy, supportive community around her. Even growing up, a big memory from my childhood, because it's me, and then I have 3 younger siblings as well, and I really appreciated that she did this while we were growing up. She wanted to continue working, of course, to support our family, but also wanted to be very present with my siblings and I as we were growing up. And so for a couple years, while we were all still young and, in preschool, kind of the time frame where we would be like early school or in daycare, she started a language school and ran it out of our house. And I think she offered 6 different languages. There was Indonesian, Spanish, German, Chinese, Japanese, and Swedish, maybe. I might be missing one.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was...
Those are hard languages, too.
Those are really hard languages, yeah. Oh, I think French might have been another one, too. Just crazy. Like, she just had this knack for picking up languages. She wasn't perfectly fluent in all of those, but she was conversational enough to teach the basics. And so our household growing up was just a crazy, loud mess all the time, with a bunch of kids from our neighborhood and my elementary school just in and out of our house, free flow all the time, coming over for language lessons and pool parties. And growing up in that environment was so fun because it was so inclusive. Anyone was welcome over all the time, and that was a big reflection of who my mom was. Like, just a big community all the time, everyone's welcome, the more the merrier. I love remembering that our just my childhood home was so welcoming to so many different people. So that was a long summary of who my mom was, but she was incredible.
Aura Biosciences is a clinical stage biotechnology company focused on developing precision therapies for solid tumors that aim to preserve organ function. Our lead candidate, Belsar, is currently in late stage development for primary choroidal melanoma and in early stage development in other ocular oncology indications and bladder cancer. Our mission is to grow as an innovative global oncology company that positively transforms the lives of patients. For more information, please visit us at aurabiosciences.com.
She sounds amazing. And I mean, languages are hard to learn one extra language when you don't grow up
Right?
with it. I can't imagine learning all of those languages. And like anyone who knows languages, there's Germanic and Romantic. I don't even know. Are there more than the two of those? Is that the two? I don't
Um,
know.
I think those are the two.
Are those the only two? I don't know. Anyone watching, leave us
Maybe.
a comment if we have forgotten a different one. I only know about Germanic and Romantic.
I'll do some
But
research after this.
yes, leave us a comment. Let us know. But I do know that when you switch from one to the other, it's incredibly more difficult than when you stay in your lane. And those are all over the place. So she's hopping back and forth. That's incredibly talented to be able to pick so many different languages up across
Yeah.
the different types of languages.
And then to be able to teach those to like young children who are
Yes.
crazy and energetic and just want to run around and like
Yes.
color on the walls. That's another funny memory.
Yeah, teaching children is a whole nother talent. Like she's got many, many, many talents she's merging together. And how amazing to do that for the benefit of her family where she could bring in that income but also still be home and be present. That's amazing.
Yeah. And it shows how much patience she had.
Absolutely.
That's something that I still now aspire to have even like a sliver of patience that she did. I'm still working on it.
We're all works in progress. That's amazing. What else would you like the community to know, either about her or about you and your journey, or how this has affected the whole family, or tips of how you got through it? Anything that you would like to share with our community?
Yeah, that's actually a perfect segue. So after we lost my mom, of course, we took, I think it was like at least a year just to grieve, kind of figure out our new norm as a family. We each kind of had our own way of grieving, of course. Some of us did individual therapy, some of us joined support groups, and when I say us, I mainly mean myself, my dad, my younger siblings, and my grandparents, or my mom's parents. And eventually we tried family therapy as well, which was helpful. We didn't do that right away just because we kind of wanted to go through some of those emotions and the grieving process on our own and then come back as a family. And overall, therapy was great, very helpful. I'm a big advocate. You don't necessarily need a reason to start therapy, but that kind of ended up being our reason to start, and a lot of us have just continued just because. So anyways, after going through that first year, which was really, really, really hard, we decided that we wanted to do something to honor my mom. And coincidentally, my mother-in-law, my husband's mom, is an ophthalmologist. So she's already very involved in the eye community from a medical perspective, and she has been part of ARVO, which is the Association for Research in Ophthalmology, and I'm blanking on the specific title because it's kind of long, but she's been involved with them forever. And so my family had the idea that we wanted to do something to honor my mom, and being that Barb is my mother-in-law, was heavily involved in ARVO and the eye community, she discovered that they had the opportunity, or they already had an existing platform to create a research grant that you could create in memory of someone or for whatever cause. And pairing those two together, we ended up creating and launching the Tami Sulistyo Memorial Research Grant. And we launched that last August, so August of 2024. And This type of research grant typically takes about 2 years to endow. There's a $35,000 endowment goal. And this was all really new to my family. We hadn't really worked on a large fundraising campaign like that before, so just kind of figuring out the next steps and how we were going to achieve this goal took a couple months, but overall we were really excited to establish this and get started. So it started out slow, but we were able to start fundraising, and just last month, actually, my mom's birthday is at the end of September, we were able to reach that endowment goal in about 13 months versus 2 years. And so that's a very recent and very exciting accomplishment. We didn't know how long it was going to take. We knew we wanted to get to the goal, reach the goal at some point, but it's really exciting that we were able to do it in 13 months instead of 2 years. And you might be wondering, like, what does this mean? What does it mean that you reach this endowment goal, and where does this fundraising go? So now that we reached the endowment goal, it essentially means that through ARVO, this research grant will self-fund forever. And that means that we'll be able to support at least one research recipient per year to contribute towards their research and to allow them to travel to an annual meeting that ARVO has every year. It's typically the first week of May, to present their research in ocular melanoma and show, the advancements that they're making. So overall, it's really exciting, and I'm really proud and happy that we were able to create this research grant to contribute to the ocular melanoma research community, as well as do something so impactful to honor my mom and create this type of legacy for her.
That is amazing. So Congratulations for hitting your goal and doing it so soon, but thank you for just taking the initiative and doing something to help the community and spread advocacy and raise money for research. I mean, everything that is going to ripple effect out of this one thing you have done, it's going to be a huge impact. So thank you for doing that. And what a great way to honor your mom.
Yeah, I know she's really proud.
Yes.
We'll see where it goes from here. We do have the option, if we want to in the future, to do a second endowment, which would mean that we could support 2 researchers per year or 3 per year. But for now, we're just really excited about the one endowment and the one researcher per year. I actually was able to attend this year's annual meeting. It was in Salt Lake City, and my in-laws live in Park City, Utah. And so my husband and I were already there. And so it was the perfect opportunity to just drive down to Salt Lake for the day and attend this conference. And the scale of the annual meeting was mind-blowing. Like, there were just so many researchers, not all specific to ocular melanoma, of course. There's a lot of glaucoma and a lot of other great areas of research too, but I was able to meet our very first recipient of the Tami Sulistyo Memorial Research Grant in person, watch him present his research, and then we've stayed in touch since then. This was back in May, and so he's been very involved in spreading the word about our research grant, because he, being the very first recipient, he understands how it can be so impactful and helpful to his own research, and he wants to help us continue supporting other researchers in the future too. So that was just another special moment, was getting to meet the very first recipient in person, and it was very sweet. He was so thankful for what we were doing to help him, kind of from just a financial support aspect. But then on the flip side, myself and my family were beyond thankful that his brilliance in research was making such a big difference towards a future cure of ocular melanoma. So just like big thank yous on both ends. It was really special.
That is so amazing. I can't even express how much I love this. So, if anyone's listening right now and they're feeling very inspired and they're like, I want to do this too, where could they start? Like, do you have any tips for them to start something similar?
Castle Biosciences is a proud sponsor of this I Believe podcast. Castle's innovative uveal melanoma tests provide valuable information about the risk of your eye cancer spreading to help you and your healthcare team individualize the management of your disease. To learn more, visit castlebiosciences.com.
I would, if they're interested in ARVO specifically, and another reason, let me just say, that we chose to establish this research grant through ARVO is so that we could have a really big reach and a really big impact because it's such a big organization already. Of course, there's other platforms. I mean, you could start your own research grant or any type of fundraising campaign on your own. But if you are interested in ARVO specifically, like my family was, you can simply go to their website and get in touch. I and my family have been working with one of their employees specifically that works on the fundraising side, and we've had a fabulous partnership. He's been so helpful. I got to meet him in person as well at the annual meeting, so I'm happy to provide his contact information specifically, but you can go to the ARVO website and kind of do your own research there first to see if that is the right platform that you'd be interested in, and if you are, there's a contact us location on the website. You could go from there.
That's amazing. I didn't even know that that was an option that you could do this. So I love that you're bringing this information to us and getting this out to the public, because I think this is a wonderful way to honor somebody. I mean, you're helping other people. Like, what better way? I mean, you could plant a tree or get a bench, but I feel like this is so much more impactful.
That's funny because we also have done those two things.
Yeah, I mean, you can do all the things.
Right. Like, we have multiple trees planted, which again are great. Like, that's very
It's
sweet
great.
and sentimental as well. And then actually before we lost my mom, she decided to have like a family bench on one of the lakes in Minnesota. And it's very simple. It just says, "With love, the Sulistyo family." But that has become a very staple place for my family and I together. There's been multiple like Mother's Days where we'll go to the bench. We just refer to it as the bench. And we'll bring a picnic, or we'll walk around the lake first with our dogs and then just sit on the bench and kind of reflect. And there's been a lot of times where I'll just go by myself just to kind of have that like quiet moment with my mom and be able to kind of talk to her, just me, while sitting on the bench. So big fan of the bench. But
Love it.
Yeah, in addition to that, it's great that we're also able to contribute to the much needed research towards finding a cure for ocular melanoma.
Absolutely. And I think that the funding issue is often people's biggest complaint is we don't have the funding. So this is a great way to make it happen. And I just love that you're doing all of these things. And yes, we love the bench and we love the tree. And what else? Have you done anything else besides that? Is there any other ideas you have?
One thing that just me personally I've found really helpful, not so much related to like contributions like that, like the bench or the tree or the research grant, but this is just one piece of advice that I have since given to several friends who have lost a parent or anyone close to them. And I got this tip or recommendation, suggestion from a previous coworker who also lost her mom in her 20s. When I lost my mom, she sent me a journal in the mail, and she essentially said, no pressure, this is just something that I did and have been doing since I was in my mid-20s when I lost my mom. She will journal to her mom, and I know a lot of people out there probably journal on a daily, weekly basis already, just about whatever, their own thoughts, their day, their week. But I really liked this specific approach to journaling because I tried it in the past just for me, but couldn't really get into it. But now I've been journaling to my mom once a week. It happens to be on Mondays. That's just the day and the cadence that I chose. but that has been extremely therapeutic for me because it's not the only time during the week. I know that I can talk to my mom whenever I want, but that dedicated time to talk to my mom, kind of get her caught up on the last week, just tell her how my week went, what I'm looking forward to, maybe what I'm struggling with that week, and I address it to her and I sign off as myself. It always starts with Dear Mom, and then I go from there, and that's just been a very special and therapeutic way for me to stay connected with her. One of many ways, of course, but yeah, for anyone looking for an additional way to maybe connect with a lost loved one, I've found that helps a lot.
I totally love that because I think writing helps you process anyway. So you can talk to them whenever you want, but I think when you take the step further to write, it just helps you process.
Exactly. It does feel very different than just, me saying something in my head or out loud. Both happen, but actually writing down the words and being thoughtful about what I'm sharing, because I'll only journal like 1 page, and I know I could do more, but that also makes me like intentional about like the big updates that I want to share with my mom in that journal entry.
And that's also a really cool thing that you can go back and read, in a few years and say, hey, what was going on in my life that month? Or, what was I feeling? And so I think that's really cool to document it in that way.
Yeah, I'm excited to go back and read through them. I just a couple weeks ago started my second journal. So I made it through my whole first one over the last 2.5 years. It lasted me a while. And so I have that one tucked away in storage, and I'm working on my second one, but I'll definitely hold on to all of them.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. All right. Is there anything else that you want to say before we wrap up? Any other message to the community? I know you've shared so much wisdom already.
No, I think, your community is fantastic as well. I think the research side, which we've been talking about a lot, is very important. But I was really drawn to A Cure in Sight because of all the support that you provide for the patients, just providing that community, that sounding board, those other resources for them is so important. I think it's incredible to have both. You need both. You need the research and you need the community, because it's really scary and it's really a big deal. It's really impactful on both the patient themselves, but also their families, their loved ones, their partners, their kids. And so I love everything that A Cure in Sight provides for the patients as well. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We do appreciate that. And advocacy is huge. We do patient support, advocacy, we do fund research, we do a lot of things, but I think the most important thing is bringing the community together. And then I think the second most important thing is the channel of information that we provide. What I mean by that is the podcast, the social media, the newsletter, because the pharma companies and the researchers, when they have updates, they'll let us know, and then we get it out to the patients. So you're not having to follow every researcher and every pharma company. Maybe you don't know all the ones that exist, but if you follow us, we will get that information to you. So I think that is one of the really important things about A Cure in Sight, and why I always invite everybody at the end of every episode. If you watch them, you know I say the same thing at the end of every episode, and I'm going to say it now because we're at the end of the episode. So this is the perfect segue again. Please follow us. Please follow us on YouTube as well as anywhere else you get a podcast, Apple, Spotify, etc. And please follow all of our social media outlets. Please go to our website, acureinsight.org, and there is a button at the top to join the newsletter. Please join the newsletter. You will get a newsletter at the end of every month with a wrap-up of the month, anything important that we feel you should know about. And then if there's anything really timely during the month, we might send out another email here or there, and it's usually going to be an update on a clinical trial or pharma or an event, something specific. So please follow the newsletter. And then check out our Zoom group every Tuesday if you would like to connect with some other OMIs. There are 2 rooms, one for metastatic and one for regular, so you can choose the room that is your comfort level. And that's a really great way to just meet somebody who knows what you're going through. You can join the Cure Companion program that you can find on our website as well. If you are new to the community and you need a veteran OMI to guide you through this and help you and be a sounding board, please sign up. And if you are the veteran, maybe you would like to donate your time to someone who is new. So please volunteer, and we would love to match up some Cure Companions. And then stay tuned for all of the information about events. Our new 5Ks are all listed on the website, so please check out if there's a 5K near you. Our Swing for Sight is coming up in the spring, and I believe next fall, I know it's a year away, but it's going to be in Texas. So keep an eye out for dates that will be coming soon. And we are just really excited that you guys are here. We want to thank our viewers because none of this would happen if you weren't tuning in to view. Also, a huge thank you to our sponsors. None of this functions without the sponsors, and we cannot keep bringing you this wonderful free education and entertainment and support and all the things that I feel like we provide without our sponsors. So huge thank you to the sponsors. Please go check out their websites. They offer some wonderful information, and follow us and we'll let you know what's going on. And we will talk to you guys next week. I hope you have a wonderful week.
Thank you.